So a lot has really gone on over this last year. It all started, I told my wife Sandy I was going to try my hardest not to say no to opportunities or people's requests on certain things. And because of that, I was asked to go speak at the BC Honey Producers Association convention last October. So I said yes. The problem was I have this tremendous fear of speaking in front of people. And that's not unusual with many people. Like, many people have fear of speaking, public speaking and such. And I happen to, I'm a little bit shy in that way. So I had to force myself to learn how to actually follow through with that. So what I did was I started speaking in front of the camera here and practiced speaking, and I put these videos out onto a blog, and to which I used for feedback, and talked about beekeeping, and apparently other people find this blog useful and subscribe and watch it all the time. Now, because of that, I've become more confident in speaking. I still hate it, but I'm a lot better at speaking in front of people now. It's allowed me to fulfill some of my ambitions. I have a lot of passion and a lot of energy for beekeeping. So because of that, I was asked by the Manitoba Beekeepers Association if I'd become a director. So I said yes, and that's gone very well. So I'm just, nicely into that and really enjoying that work. I think we're moving things along. And because of all this, especially my YouTube exposure, I've been asked to do a few other speaking engagements. On the 9th, which is this Tuesday, I'll be going to the Red River Apiarist Association, which is in Winnipeg. And I'll be speaking to that crew about honeybee nutrition and our changing landscape. It's a topic I'm extremely passionate about. I'm really looking forward to talking about this. The association pulls out typically 100-125 people every month. So that's a lot of people to speak in front of. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm really looking forward to that. And then on October 20th, I've been invited to go out to Nova Scotia to speak at the Nova Scotia Beekeepers Association in Kentville, Nova Scotia. They want me to speak 3 times out there, so I'll be speaking 3 hours. One of my topics is going to be beekeeping on the prairies, just a detailed perspective on our beekeeping practice out here, and a detailed look into springtime management. They're interested in the way I see and manage my bees to bring out their absolute brilliance, and how I capitalize on all that. So that should be interesting. And then I'm also going to brush upon that honeybee nutritional requirements in our changing landscape. I'm going to present that to them as well. And it's that talks more so for a prairie beekeeper, but it's the perspective that I'm providing, and just the way I see things, and just I'm approaching these issues kind of as a beekeeper and as a farmer, and I just have a different opinion on things, and my opinion on moving things forward, my opinion on the problems and moving things forward is a little bit different than a lot of beekeepers, and it's just, people are just interested to hear that. And then on November 1st to the 3rd, I'll be going down to Wisconsin Honey Producers Association at Wisconsin Rapids. And they want me to speak about single box hive management. They're very interested. See, we have very similar, our environment's very similar, Wisconsin and Manitoba here. We might be a little bit colder, a little more defined winter, but they get a heck of a pile of snow down there. And they're just interested in how I manage my hives in that single box management. Is the same thing, just extracting the pure brilliance out of these hives as we move them through, and just how we can capitalize on the growth and the behavior of these bees throughout the season. and I'll be speaking about beekeeping on the prairies. It's just I like this topic. Either that one or whatever they want. I have another one, self-sustainable queen management. So the beekeeping on the prairies is more so a talk about how I manage my work, and all those hated jobs in the bee business, and how I manage those hated jobs out. So one of them is lifting. So I've used the easy loader. I'll be talking about that. Another one is what is it? I hate using fume boards, and I just hate robbing. And the use of this easy loader and these escape boards have allowed us to pull honey in a different manner. Our extracting facility, I set it up very specifically for pulling honey with escape boards. And I'll be talking about indoor wintering, just things around that. The self-sustainable queen management talk is more so directed not on how to rear queens, but just how an operation like mine, I have 1,200 hives, how I was able to shift off import queens, and how I was able to rethink and rework my whole system to be able to develop a system which incorporates my own breeding stock. It all incorporates nukes, and using nukes through a multi-queen rearing system. So it's just kind of an interesting little talk. And then I'm also going to the Calgary Beekeepers Association in the middle of February, right after our Manitoba Beekeepers Association convention. I'll be speaking to the beekeepers out there. I'm not sure what I'm talking about out there yet. I'll leave it up to them, but they will decide on the list of topics here. There's lots for me to talk about. Whatever it is, I just love talking about bees. I get really nervous about standing in front of the crowd and speaking in front of people. Like, that fear will never leave me. I'm learning how to manage that. But I'm up there talking about beekeeping and all the aspects around that, and my perspective and all this kind of stuff. And I could stand up there forever and talk about this stuff. And I just love the engagement from the crowd. I just hope I'm able to. Sometimes I speak and I don't get a lot of feedback from the crowd, and that's a little tougher because I'm all about feedback. I work on a feedback loop, and when I get interaction from the crowd and questions and comments and such, I'm just able to bring that feedback into what I'm trying to say, and it just kind of settles me down a little bit and moves I like presenting as if it's a conversation. So it's kind of funny, at our South Central Beekeepers Association, just a little regional group we have going on here, I tried a live Facebook Live presentation, and it didn't go as well as I wanted to. I just started to get nervous talking into that camera because of the whole feedback thing. I wasn't getting any feedback. I couldn't, tell on the pace and the rhythm to present and such. And it was really interesting because we had there was about 12 or 15 people there, and there was a little bit of interaction, which is in the room, which is good. But when I turned that camera off, that whole room turned into discussion around that presentation, and it was extremely interesting. And I wish I could have had that camera on through the discussion and interaction in that room after I was finished presenting, because there was just pure brilliance going on within the conversation, and that's what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm just trying to contribute to the overall conversation. I'm just a beekeeper and I'm a farmer. I'm just bringing the issues out there and just talking beekeeping and these issues, just straight up beekeeping. Nothing brilliant, just good old-fashioned beekeeping. And that's what most beekeepers love. And that's what brings us all together. And that's what makes this craft so interesting. It's just everybody has a different way of looking at things and moving forwards in their, the evolution of their business. And I just find it extremely fascinating speaking to beekeepers and how they approach issues and how they solve their issues, because everybody has different financial restraints and restrictions, and just how we manage our time and how we develop these programs around these beehives. It's all the same beehive, it's all the same work. It's just how do you put those systems together to be able to manage that work and move your operation forward. And just find that extremely fascinating. And this is just the whole intent, and what I'm trying to do here with these presentations is just, add to the conversation and just try to connect with beekeepers and just bring out some good discussion, and hopefully everybody benefits from this. So anyways, I'm just working on the presentation now. It's kind of slow going because it's but you know, I'm going to have it all put together, and I have the one put together for the Red River Apiarists Association already, and I practiced that. But I find the more I practice something, I'm better off the cuff more, so I just have my cues and a bit of talking points in the way I go. And at any rate, so if anybody's interested in coming to hear me speak, don't hesitate. If you see me there, come up and say hi. I look forward to meeting everybody and connecting and talking beekeeping.